After studying this module, we shall be able to know the meaning of inventory, examine the objectives of inventory management, understand the costs and benefits of inventory management, analyze the various techniques of inventory control, evaluate the management and control of inventory.
Let us now commence this topic by studying about inventory management. Inventory management is primarily about specifying the size and placement of stocked goods. Inventory management is required at different locations within a facility or within multiple locations of supply network to protect the regular and planned course of production against the random disturbance of running out of materials or goods. The scope for inventory management also concerns the fine lines between replenishment, lead time, carrying cost of inventory, asset management, inventory forecasting, inventory valuation, inventory visibility, future inventory price, forecasting, physical inventory available physical space for inventory, and quality management. You can see that the list is very long. This also includes replenishment, return of defective goods, and demand forecasting also by replenishment, or it can be defined as the left out stock of any item used in an organization. Inventory is a liability of a business. In terms of inventory, the term refers to the goods or materials used by a firm for the purpose of production and sale. It also includes the items which are used as supportive materials to facilitate production. There are basically three types of inventory: raw material, work in progress, and finished goods. Raw materials are the items purchased by a firm for use in production of finished products. Work in progress consists of all items currently in the process of production. That means that they are in a semi-finished state. These are actually partly manufactured products. Finished goods consist of those items which have already been produced but are not yet sold. Inventory constitutes one of the most important items of current assets, which permits smooth operation of production and sale process of a firm. Inventory management is that aspect of current asset management which is concerned with maintaining the optimum investment in the inventory and applying effective control system so that we can minimize the total inventory cost. While accountants often discuss inventory in terms of goods for sale, organizations, manufacturers, service providers, and not for profits also have inventories such as fixtures, furniture, supplies, etc. They do not intend to sell such inventories. Manufacturers or distributors and wholesalers' inventories tend to cluster in warehouses. Retailers' inventory may exist in a warehouse or in a shop or in a store accessible to the customers. Inventories are not intended for sale to customers or to clients that may be held in any premises an organization uses. Stock ties up cash and if it is uncontrolled, it will be impossible, therefore, to know the actual level of stock and impossible to control the level of stock. Inventory proportionately is the goal of demand driven inventory management. The primary optimal outcome is to have the same number of days or hours worth of inventory and to hand across all products so that the time of run out of all products would be simultaneous. In such a case, there is no excess inventory. That is, inventory that would be left over of another product when the first product runs out. Excess inventory is suboptimal because the money spent to obtain it would have been utilized better elsewhere, that is, the product that just ran out. The secondary goal of inventory is proportionality in inventory minimization. By integrating accurate demand forecasting with inventory management rather than only looking at past averages, a much more accurate and optimal outcome is expected. Integrating demand forecasting into inventory management is the way, in this way also allows for the prediction of the can fit point when inventory storage is limited on a per product basis. Let us now discuss the reasons to hold inventory. Most businesses hold inventory for many reasons. Some of them are as follows. 1. Meeting unexpected demands. The chain of supply and demand really comes into consideration here. Business people know, the entrepreneurs know that consumers expect goods and services when they need them. Thus, a business usually stocks up their inventory to meet these unexpected demand patterns. These demand patterns may result in overcrowding of inventory because we never know when the storm strikes and the consumers would flock to buy items. There could suddenly be a bubble, a fad in the market, and people would flock to the stores. Second, smoothing of seasonal demands. With the coming and goings of major events and changing seasons, most businesses have inventories at hand to smoothen the seasonal demand. For example, during Diwali or Christmas, there would be excess demand, and to take care of this excess demand, production cannot be increased overnight. So therefore, it is necessary to stock in advance. With the coming of such seasons, the retail outlets and other businesses would get busy in trying to increase the inventory so that they could stabilize the demand pattern and stabilize the supply in response to the demand pattern. If they do not have enough inventory, how could they meet these excess demand which suddenly crops up around certain years in the year, over the year, such as Christmas or Diwali, as was being said. Third, taking advantage of price discounts. When a business purchases goods from the manufacturer and supplier, they usually get price discounts if they buy in bigger and bulk quantities. Manufacturers and suppliers give these discounts to attract and maintain regular buyers. Taking advantage of price discounts, it is helpful at times, but one must always remember not to overstock inventory because it could be inefficient, it could be an inefficient way of buying, and may cause in fact ultimately the failure of the business. Hedging against price increase. Businesses usually hold inventory to avoid the ever fluctuating market price of inventories. Thus, by having efficient and good inventory system, the businesses can control their inventory cost and hence control the overall cost of production. 5. Getting quality discounts. When businesses have inventory in store, they can get quality discounts because they know which goods and services to buy from the supplier and the manufacturer. It helps to learn where to get a better deal and rather than no deal at all. Also, there are several reasons not to keep high inventories. Therefore, on the one hand, there are reasons for keeping a good level of inventory, and on the other hand, there are reasons not to do so. Obsolescence. Due to the progress in the technology, if inventory is bought for the future but it becomes obsolete, then it becomes such inventory becomes a dead loss. Capital investment, space usage, complicated inventory control, and higher number of inventory items complicates the control and monitoring of inventory. So therefore, there are many negative points, that is obsolescence, capital, higher capital being invested, space being misutilized. Now let us understand the importance of inventory management. Inventory management is important from the point of view that it enables to address two important issues. The firm has to maintain adequate inventory for smooth production and selling activities. It has to minimize the investment in inventory to enhance the firm's profitability. So on the one hand, if it does not have adequate inventories, it may not be able to meet the demand. On the other hand, if it has too much of inventories, then it would lead to a increase in the cost and a reduction in the profitability. Investment in inventory should neither be excessive nor inadequate. It should be just right, that is just optimal. Maintaining the optimal level of inventory is the main aim of inventory management. Excessive investment in inventory results into more cost of funds being tied up so that it reduces the profitability. Inventory may be misused, it may be lost, it may be damaged. In fact, there is a recent example wherein that the stocks of food grains in FCI were eaten away by rats. So this is one example of having excessive inventory and losses due to excessive inventory. At the same time, insufficient investment in the inventory creates a problem of stock out. There could be interruptions in production and the selling operations could also suffer. Therefore, the firm may lose out on customers and they may shift away to other competitors. Financial managers have to have a keen view of inventory management. They should always try to put neither too much of emphasis on inventory, neither should the inventory level be too small. The importance or significance of inventory management could be specified in the following few points. 1. Inventory management helps in maintaining a trade-off between carrying cost and ordering cost, which results into minimizing the total cost of inventory. Second, inventory management facilitates maintaining adequate inventory for smooth production and sales operation. Third, inventory management avoids the stock out problem that a firm faces otherwise it would face in the lack of proper inventory management in the face of excess of demand. Uh, Inventory management suggests the proper inventory control system to be applied by a firm to avoid losses, damages, and misuse.
Inventory refers to the stock of goods the firm has, either in the form of raw materials, semi finished goods, or finished goods. The raw materials and semi finished goods are converted into finished goods through its manufacturing process. Finished goods are final goods which are ready for sale. Effective inventory management ultimately aims at maximization of the owner's wealth, which is consistent with the overall objective of financial management. There are two conflicting objectives of inventory management: to minimize investments in inventory. Maintaining inventory involves costs. Thus, the objective of effective inventory management will be to maintain the minimum possible inventory in order to lower down the costs. To ensure sufficient inventories to meet the production and sales demand, holding sufficient amounts of inventory ensures smooth functioning of the firm. In order to achieve the objective of maintaining optimal levels of inventory, the firms need to undertake cost benefits trade off for inventory management. The following are the costs associated with inventory management. Ordering costs. These are costs incurred for acquiring or ordering of inventory. For replenishing of stock, firms need to order stock to ensure smooth production. The costs associated with it are the nature of fixed costs like administrative tasks, preparing purchase orders, receiving, inspecting, recording of stock as per the purchase order, etc. These are fixed costs which have to be incurred with each order. More the number of orders placed, more will be the ordering costs. Thus, ordering costs are inversely related to the size of inventory. Carrying cost. These are the costs associated with the maintenance of inventory. These can include storage cost, handling costs, insurance of inventory, etc. The higher the size of inventory, more will be the carrying costs. Opportunity costs. These refer to the expenses to finance the acquisition and maintenance of inventory. Lesser the inventory, less funds would be tied up in inventory and less will be its opportunity costs. If the funds are not tied up in inventory, they can earn a return for the firm. Obsolescence. Holding large amounts of inventory over a longer period of time might also lead to obsolescence. The benefits include benefits of purchasing. Purchasing raw materials in large quantities will help the firm avail the discounts which are offered on bulk purchases. This will reduce the cost of acquiring and ordering inventory. Raw materials inventory gives the firm flexibility in purchasing. Benefits of production. Finished goods inventory helps in providing flexibility in the production schedule. The firm needs to decide upon the production schedule, whether it has to be continuous throughout the year or as per the demand, seasonal demand only. Having continuous production lowers down the cost of discontinuities in the production process. Benefits in work in progress. Shortening of the production process will lead to reduction in the work in progress inventory. Benefits of sales. Inventory forms a link between production and sales. Having sufficient inventory helps the firm meet the customer's demand. It also helps the firm to gain competitive advantage over its rivals. There are various problems and issues that need to be tackled for an effective inventory management. These are classification problem, determining order quantity, order point, and safety stocks. We shall discuss how these problems are taken care of. The first is the classification problem. Classifying the inventory into various categories determines the type and degree of inventory control required. ABC system is an inventory categorization technique which suggests that inventories of a firm are not of equal value. Thus, the inventory is grouped into three categories A, B, and C in order of their estimated importance. The ABC system categorizes the items as follows. A items are very important for an organization. Because of the high value of these A items, frequent value analysis is required. In addition to that, an organization needs to choose an appropriate order pattern, for example, just in time, to avoid excess capacity. For these items, very tight control and accurate records are required. B items are important, but of course less important than A items and more important than C items. Therefore, B items are intergroup items. For these, very tight control and accurate records are required. C items are marginally important. For them, simplest controls possible and minimal records are sufficient. After the classification and identification of the inventory into class A, B, and C, next is the determination of the order quantity. Thus, the management needs to decide upon the following. How much inventory should be bought under one order? Should the quantity ordered be large or small? Should the inventory be ordered under one lot or in several small lots? The optimum level of inventory can be determined with a popular technique known as economic order quantity, EOQ. EOQ determines the optimum order quantity that minimizes the total cost of inventory management. The following diagram depicts the impact of holding large and small inventory quantity levels. Q represents the EOQ level of inventory, which leads to minimum total inventory costs. The aim is to determine the order size with lowest total cost, ordering plus carrying. The formula for calculating the EOQ is given by where A is annual usage of inventory, B is buying cost per order, and C is carrying cost per unit. Limitations with EOQ model are assumption of constant consumption and instant replenishment. This may not always hold true. The suppliers may take time to deliver inventories, which may take time to replenish the stocks. need to maintain additional inventory. There might be unexpected demand for stocks. In order to meet the contingencies, the firm may have to maintain additional safety stocks. Assumption of known annual demand. There might be an inconsistency between expected demand and actual demand, which might lead to additional or reduction of inventory levels. Reorder point. Reorder point determines the point at which the order has to be placed to replenish the stocks. Reorder point is equal to lead time in days multiplied by average daily usage of inventory, where lead time depicts the time taken in receiving the delivery of the stock once the order has been placed. EOQ helps to determine the order size so as to reduce the carrying and the ordering costs. Safety stocks represent additional stock which acts as buffer or cushion against possible shortage of inventory caused either by increased usage or delayed delivery of stocks. The costs related with safety stocks are stock out costs. These are costs related with shortage of inventory. The firm may lose out on certain benefits if faced with any stock out situation. The loss may be in terms of reduced sales, loss of customers, impact on the reputation of the firm, loss in production schedule, etc. Carrying costs. These costs would again be the cost of maintaining additional inventory as buffer. There needs to be a trade off between the two, as larger safety stock would increase the carrying costs, but at the same time reduce the stock out costs.
Let us recapitulate what we have said so far. The term inventory refers to the goods or materials used by a firm for the purpose of production and sale. It also includes items which are used for supportive materials to facilitate production. There are three basic types of inventory: raw materials, work in progress, and finished goods. Inventory management is primarily about specifying the size and placement of stocked goods. Inventory management is required at different locations within a facility or within multiple locations of a supply network to protect the regular and planned course of production against random disturbances of running out of raw materials or goods. There are several reasons for not keeping high inventory levels: obsolescence due to technological progress. The bought inventory for future may become obsolete. Capital investment, that is excessive investment in the stocks. Excessive stocks would also lead to misuse of space. And finally, inventory control could become very complicated if there are several types of inventories of different vintages. So, we need to have an inventory control system, and as the number of inventories and the volume of inventory increases, this inventory control system becomes more and more complex and unmanageable. When accountants often discuss inventory in terms of goods for sale, organizations, manufacturers, service providers, and not for profit organizations also have inventories. These inventories are in the nature of fixtures, furniture, supplies, etc., which they do not intend to sell. Inventory consists of the most important item in current assets, which permits smooth operations of production and sales of the processes of a firm. The primary optimal outcome is to have the same number of days or hours, depending upon the process of production, worth of inventory on hand across all products, so that the time of run out of all products would be simultaneous. Most businesses hold inventory for many reasons: meeting unexpected demand, smoothing seasonal demand, taking advantage of price discounts, hedging against price increase, and getting quality discounts. Inventory management is important from the point of view that it enables to address two important issues. The firm has to maintain adequate inventory for smooth production and selling activities. On the other hand, it has to minimize the inventory so as to enhance the firm's profitability. There are various costs associated with inventory, but there are also some benefits. When the firm is deciding about the optimal level of inventory to be maintained, there is a proper trade-off between the costs and benefits that need to be evaluated. The various problems with effective inventory control are classification problem, order quantity problem, order point problem, and safety stock. There is a method called ABC system. It is a system of inventory categorization which suggests that inventories of a firm are not of equal value. Thus, the inventory is grouped into three categories A, B, and C in order of their importance. Further to this, there is EOQ, which determines the optimum order quantity that minimizes the total cost of inventory management. As we have seen, if the cost of inventory management goes up, then the total cost goes up and the profitability comes down. Symbolically, EOQ is equal to the under root of 2AB divided by C. Reorder point determines the point at which the order has to be placed to replenish the stocks. Safety stocks represent additional stocks which act as a buffer against the possible shortage of inventory caused either by increased usage or delayed delivery of stocks. The main cost related with safety stocks are stock out cost and carrying cost.